Bitcoin is gearing up for one of the biggest moves that's to come in the next couple of weeks. But the question is it going up or is it going down? Guys, welcome back to Crypto Gains for another video. You do not want to miss this video. Going to bring you a quick update analysis on Bitcoin. This is important. I'm seeing something super interesting in the charts, and I want to share it with you. If it sounded interesting, drop that like, give me a subscribe if you're new watching. Before I go any further, this is not financial advice. Please do your further research before you invest your money. Take a look at where we are right now. Excuse me. Take a look at where we are right now in the space of this time frame for Bitcoin and what's been going on over here, right? So right now, the Bitcoin price at the time of recording this video is about $17,000. I have the RSI indicator up, which is this blue line here. Got the yellow line with it as well. And then I have the stochastic RSI, which is the bottom indicator. And you can see every time, these like waves, every time the blue's been in front of the red and of the RSI, the stochastic RSI, it shows price action going up when we see buy momentum kick in, because that's what this is. This is all about momentum. And when we see the red cross over the blue and then the red's in front and it's coming down, we see sell pressure, sell momentum, and that usually indicates sell pressure coming down. So as it stands right now with Bitcoin's price and the indicators, we are in a position which we have not been in for a very long time. Matter of fact, the last time that Bitcoin was in this position right here, where the RSI was at around 34, and you can see it, let me see if I can bring it up a bit, I don't know if I can. If you look at the right hand side here, maybe my camera's in the way, the RSI was at a number of 34, right? 34.65. The last time this was 34.65 was right back here at the depths of the 2018 bear cycle. Came down, bear market, right back here. And I've highlighted this with yellow circles, eclipse circles, so you can see and we can compare them together. Same with the stochastic RSI. The last time it was down here, right, which is about let's just say a 30, alongside the RSI being at this level of 34.65 was right back here. We're talking January the 14th, 2019. Why am I bringing this to your attention? Because if it's going to do what it did in the past, it's very likely we could see a huge rally come for Bitcoin in the next coming weeks. It's not confirmed yet, but time will tell. Because if Bitcoin breaks this line, which is this yellow line, which in all fairness, it's been forming a resistance for the longest time from right up here all the way down to here. So we're going to know as time goes on, if it breaks this trend line that I've just drawn, which is this white trend line, it breaks through it, you may see Bitcoin go on an insane rally, because this has been strong resistance for the longest time. And you can see here, we had one high on the RSI, came down, came up, got rejected again, came down. It couldn't break this line that it was forming, this trend line, right? And you can see it in the price of Bitcoin over the last sort of year, 2 years, right? Well, about a year and a half, because this is on the weekly time frame, meaning all Bitcoin's price action that we see is 1 week's worth of candles, 1 week's worth of action. So from our all-time highs, which apparently was back here, this was the second top, we haven't been able to break through. This was the highest point in the RSI, right? And you can see every time we've had high points like this in the RSI, it's always been sort of like peaks of the top of the cycles kind of thing. Like, right here, we saw a RSI come up quite high here, but it wasn't as high as this one. This was a high one here. And if you take it right further back to 2014 cycle, you see, get it out, 2013, 2014 cycle, you can see here in the RSI where the peaks were, and they match up similar to the peaks that we've been seeing in the past. So this being said, this is the sorry, I was going to put my phone on silent. This is going to be the part where I'm really paying attention to this, because I want to see if it can do something like what it did in 2018. Now let's just zoom this in, because if we see something like this on the RSI, where this blue line breaks the yellow line and comes flying above, look what happened last time it did this. We saw Bitcoin's price go from $3,200-ish to about 14, what was it? Sorry, let me just get this right. $13,800. That was a massive pump. You're talking 327% pump or rise in Bitcoin's price. If you want, you could also use this COVID action that happened, when the prices fell down. But you can notice here that where the blue line is on this section on the RSI, it's not as low as 34.65, right? Like all the other ones were, like this one and this one here. But you can use this, and this still gave you a nice pump when it broke through this yellow area here. So for example, if I draw a quick eclipse, this would have been the breaking point right here when we see the break where the blue comes above the yellow, and then obviously it went on a massive rise up, and that was this massive rise from down here, which is about $3,000, $4,000, right up to about $59,000, $60,000, which was the first run. So anything from a 300% pump. I'm trying to figure out, like, is there a smaller pump? Let's see if we can go back further. Because like I said, the last time we saw the RSI this low, it's always been the bottoms of the bear market. So here's an example of like 2014's bottom. Let me just grab it here real quick. Right down here. This area here, when it broke, we had a crazy rally. Let's just measure this one because it's not as big. Well, technically speaking, it was big because, this rally continues for however long. But I'm going to just take it from here to sort of like, the tops of these RSIs that I'm seeing here, because we could see a similar thing should Bitcoin do this. So from down here to about, even here, that's a 215% pump. And look at where the RSI is at the measuring tool at the minute. Let's see if I can stretch it higher. That would be a 391% pump. Are we going to see something like that with Bitcoin? Well, time's going to tell, because obviously if it doesn't break this white line, then it's likely it will get rejected and it may come down. I also want to focus your attention on this line here. But before I do that, let me just show you what kind of price we would be looking at if we was to see some sort of crazy parabolic pump. Just look at this. Look, I'm at 180. 215% pump puts it at $54,000. A 300 odd pump, we could potentially see new all-time highs. Which sounds crazy. It sounds insane. Now, this isn't going to be something that happens overnight, because when you work at the measuring tool, this is something that's taken time. It hasn't just happened straight away. So, for example, the break is here, the RSI moves up, and in this case, this happened a lot quicker than most others. And I'll give you an example of this, right? So this is where the break of the RSI was, and then it took 140 days, 140, right? That's that example there. And then obviously since this whole crash that we had from here to get to the top of our first top, that took 406 days. So it could very well take 400-ish days for us to reach a new all-time high once it makes that break. And just, if we want to use this as an example of the time period from down here to this peak, I think I measured it here, that's about 518 days. So even though it sounds great that we could see an all-time high, it could very well take 400 to 500 days. That being said, if it did take about 400 days from the prices of where we are now, where would it put us in the future? We are looking at about, this is for about 400 days, 406 days. That puts us January the 15th, 2024. So that means we would still have a whole year from now until we start seeing a new all-time high. That this is putting it about January 2024, based on it going to 406 days. So I want you to take that into consideration as well, okay? Because sometimes these things can happen quick, sometimes it may take longer, but it definitely looks like if we see this break, it could be set in the cards, and obviously over time we just see the RSI do something like this. Let me see if I can draw it. I'll make it blue as well, so it might break here. You might see like a short-term rally like up here like this, and then it comes down, and then it continues, goes like this, and then it comes down, and then it just comes right up parabolic like this, and then we see our peak, something like that. Let me change it blue. So this isn't 100% accurate. It's just a rough idea of what I'm trying to picture in my head as it breaks this white line and we go parabolic to the upside. So yes, we can very well see price action go up in the next week or two. I think so. And if we do, what's going to be its main target? And to be honest, it's this line here. Now, at the minute, I'm using it as a rainbow heat map, but it's actually the 200-week moving average. So, if you draw up the 200-week, you can see it's always held support in the past. 2018's bottom came down to the 200, and you can see it here came down to the 200 of that section there as well. And so far, it's been like that way in the past as well, right? But if you look closely, we could find this as resistance as time goes on, because We were holding it as support, which means it was a strong barrier for support. But once we broke it, we found it hard to break again. And if you take a good look at where we are, we actually did rally before from here to here. Let me just see if I can do a measuring tool. From here, I've done it wrong. Let me get it more accurate. So from about here to here, we went up to about 38% pump. And as we came up, we got rejected on this area. We broke it and then came straight back down. So this is a strong resistance. So I would believe that short term, because I've done the long term, short term, we could come up to this price. We could come up to this moving average line, and we could very well see Bitcoin rise right up here to this blue line, which would probably be about a 42% pump. It will put Bitcoin at the price of $24,200. Look out for that, because that's going to be the test. If it can break this and not hold it as resistance like a ceiling, it just keeps bouncing down because it can't get through it, we might have a bit of a problem here. But many people will think that we're going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher short term, but it might take a bit longer. But I would expect that this would be the strongest resistance at 24,200 if it breaks it. If it breaks it and we print at least, 1 or 2 candles above, expect fireworks. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, I'm going to leave it here. If this was helpful, drop that like, give me a subscribe if you're new watching. Thank you for watching. If you want to see things like this more often, I have a Patreon account. I haven't got my Patrons up. Become a patron. I've got a few tiers. You can take your pick. I recommend my exclusive VIP partner tier. I try to give helpful information all the time on my channel and obviously over here on Patreon. They can see when I'm buying things as well. So, I'm trying to get them in early on projects and stuff. And obviously, if they choose to buy when I buy, they can see those alerts. This one here, the exclusive VIP partner tier, that unlocks all my posts. So you can see when I'm buying, selling, staking, the whole lot. If you can afford it, go for my next tier above. It will give you access to my VIP Telegram group. It's my super alerts. Let me just grab it up. Here we go. Over here, I talk to them in my VIP Telegram group way before I buy, way before I sell. There's big money in this space, high crypto profile users. They know how to make money. You do not want to miss out on this. The link is in my info section. Click it, come on over, and then obviously we can have some fun and you can see some grateful content to come. So guys, thank you for watching. Haven't even got my YouTube up. Let me just get it up. Let's just find it, get my YouTube channel up. Thank you for watching. Oh no, I ain't got it up. Here we go. And I'll show my video now. Look. Thank you for watching. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Cheers.